Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. By using our link, you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. So, Naz, as a therapist on BetterHelp, what has your experience been like?
I've been doing it since January 2021, and it's been really fun and exciting. I've been able to reach clients all over the United States and the world. I've had good relationships. I've had folks that I've had for a couple months and a good handful where I've had for almost 2 years now. So it's magnificent. I've enjoyed my time and my clients. I love them.
Awesome. You can do it all from your phone or computer via phone call, video chat, or messaging, however you feel the most comfortable. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/DSP or choose Different Spectrums podcast during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. Hey everybody, we back again.
Hey, we're back. We're live.
I'm Spencer. Of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Dr. Nas. Doctor just took some chill pills, Nas.
Remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do.
Also, don't forget to rub those likes for us. We really appreciate it.
Jesus.
Or do. It's up to you. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we have a special guest for today. She is a certified clinical trauma counselor from Maryland. Her specialties are in anxiety, depression, trauma, PTSD, and also neurodivergent therapy. She is also an avid collector of chickens. Please welcome Laura Massa to the show.
Gotta have the chicken.
Chicken. Yeah.
Chicken.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Fried chicken. Today we're doing the show The Last of Us. Hit TV show, Pedro Pascal, and season 2 is around the corner, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's around the corner.
I think so.
Can't remember.
No idea.
We'll find out. But some things that we're going to be talking about today is about getting old. What does that mean? How does that translate into our everyday lives? Self-doubt. Also a little sprinkle of PTSD. And of course, our favorite, autism. So with that, Naz, anything before we get into the show?
Excited to really talk about, obviously men and men's mental health, but relationships, dynamics. But this is a big time trigger warning. We're going to show magnificent love and relationship between two men. Yeah, I said it right. It's two grown ass white men. The biggest minorities subjugated in the world right now. White men. So we're gonna watch this, but it's magnificent. But the trigger warning is because it's the assisted suicide. So right, they're both going to unalive each other. And so me and Spence will talk about it. If I keep all of that in there, maybe where they're like doing some stuff. But I'm definitely going to keep most of these things in there, my best. Just as a heads up for folks, since this is HBO, this is going to be pretty tight copyright on stuff. So a lot of this might be blocked, the actual visual representation. So I'm just going to have you skedaddle, mosey, cha-cha, Cupid shuffle, your ass over on the Spotify, where you'll be able to see all the scenes directly on Spotify, specifically Spotify video podcast. So the links will be down yonder. Yeah, no, you just gonna, you just scroll. You gonna do a little. Man, that man diapers.
Yeah, it is.
So please, if you don't see it on YouTube, the scenes you want to see the visual representation, just mosey on over to Spotify. Again, trigger warning for the second half of the show, where we're going to talk about love, sadness, death, and specifically two gay couples, or one gay couple, not two gay men. So let's get into this pod. Lauren's already made me cry twice.
Do what I do best.
As most white women do.
Making men cry.
Make a man cry. I want to make some more jokes. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yep.
Yeah. Destroying the black and brown people in America. That's what you've been doing. Jesus.
Never.
She's brown.
She is brown.
I am the brown. I am the brown.
I know. We got thrown off.
Yeah,
we got thrown off by your name. I felt the slavery in your name. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was bad. I felt it. I was like,
The pain. Imagine
My
how
heart.
I feel.
Oh, right.
that's true. You gotta
Colonizing
say it every
it.
day.
Yeah, every day.
Every
I'm
day.
Massa.
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh my God. You just see the visual like, ugh,
what this
okay.
white lady just say?
Yeah, what this white lady? What this Miss Judy? Miss
What is
Judy.
she saying?
So let's get into a lot of fun, but then also a lot of tragedy. And this is a really good emotional scenes and clips. So let's do it. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Hey,
Hey,
Shawty.
hope y'all been listening.
Hey.
Like,
Did her
subscribe.
homework.
She did.
Tommy! What the fuck you doing here? I came here to save you.
I shouldn't have said what I said. I don't even believe it. I know you're happy for me, it's complicated for you. I'm sorry. So you gonna let me off the hook or what?
This ride to the university, is it a suicide mission?
No. It's dangerous, but it's nothing you can't handle. Just prepare and do what you do.
You've had people go that way and come back.
All of them. What is this?
She's immune.
What?
Ellie. She got infected, but she didn't get sick. Tommy. I saw her get bit myself. That was months ago. Months. She's immune.
From the beginning.
It was Marlene. She hired us to smuggle her to some fireflies. It went bad. Tess got bit. She made me swear to take the kid. It was her dying wish. What the hell was I supposed to do? We made it as far as KC, and then, she saved my life there. From another kid. 5 years ago, I would have destroyed him. But she had to shoot him to save me. 14 years old. Because I was too slow and too fucking deaf to hear him coming. And that's all. I saw a man kill his own brother to save her while I just watched. And today I thought that dog was gonna tear her apart because it smelled something on her. And all I did was stand there. I couldn't move. I couldn't think of anything to say. I was so afraid. You think I can still handle things, but I'm not who I was. I'm weak. Lately, there are these moments where the fear comes up out of nowhere, and my heart feels like it stopped. And I have dreams. Every night.
What kind of dreams?
I don't know. I can't remember. I just know that when I wake up, I've lost something. I'm failing in my sleep. It's all I do. It's all I've ever done. It's failure. Again and again.
You want me to take her?
I'm just gonna get her killed. I know it. I know it. I have to leave her.
Joel,
I mean, it's why you took off on me, right? To make up for the things we did. Well, here's your chance to bring your kid into a better world. You're younger than me. You're still strong. You said it yourself. You'll come back. You have to take her. And you can't tell anyone. Not even Maria. Tommy, you're the only one I trust. If anyone else sees those bites on her, what's under her skin, they'll shoot her. It's the last thing I'll ever ask of you. I swear.
I'll take her out at dawn.
Is this really all they had to worry about? Boys, movies, deciding which shirt goes with which skirt. It's bizarre.
Listen,
Why are you here?
I came here to talk to you.
No, why are you still here? If you're gonna ditch me, ditch me.
What exactly did you hear?
I have to leave her, you have to take her. You know, I stood up for you today because I thought...
I made this decision for your own good. You'll be way better off with Tommy. He knows the area better than I do.
Do you give a shit about me or not?
Of course I do.
Then what are you so afraid of? I'm not her, you know. Maria told me about Sarah and...
No. Don't say another word.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I've lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everybody I have cared for has either died or left me. Everybody fucking except for you! So don't tell me that I'd be safe with somebody else, because the truth is, I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. Now come dawn, we're going our separate ways.
goodbye or something?
No. I came here to steal one of these horses and go.
I would have gave you one.
I know. Anyway, that was 30 minutes ago, and I guess you deserve a choice. I still think you'd be better off with Tommy.
Let's go.
Okay.
Why am I even saying that? This isn't for me. This is for us.
Who cares what they look like?
I do. Our home isn't just our house, it's everything around us.
Give me a fucking break.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I live in this world. You live in a psycho bunker where 9/11 was an inside job and the government are all Nazis.
The government are all Nazis!
Well, yeah, now, but not then. I am asking for some paint and some gasoline for the lawnmower. That's all. I'll do everything else myself.
It is not
Bill,
a ma-
if you say resource management, so help me, I will run through one of your tripwires.
Okay. Just tell me why.
I did. Paying attention to things. It's how we show love. This is my street too. Just let me love it the way I want to. And I'm fixing up some of the shops.
Whoa.
Not the stupid ones, just the wine shop and the furniture store. And the clothing boutique.
The boutique. Are we hosting formal garden parties now?
No. But we are going to have friends.
Excuse me?
We're going to make friends. And we will invite them to visit.
We don't have friends, Frank. We will never have friends because there are no friends to be had.
I've actually been talking to a nice woman on the radio.
You what?
Well, this really is just, it's amazing.
Right? Mm-hmm. Can you not, please?
I'm the same way.
Oh, you're a paranoid schizophrenic too?
I'm not schizophrenic.
Well, can I just say, gun aside, which I get, by the way, how nice this is to have a civilized meal in such a beautiful place. It's been so long. I mean, I want to thank you, even if we don't end up working together. I really needed this.
We are working together. We are. You know what? Let's go inside. Tess, I want to show you something.
Actually, I have been wanting to see inside.
Not inside.
Thank you. Yes.
Frank! Frank!
Songs.
You gotta be kidding me. I don't want you falling asleep in the chair.
I won't.
You will, and then your feet get blue.
Bill.
I'm not fighting about it. Back in
I
bed.
promise you I'm going to stay up.
Why?
Because this is my last day.
What if we find a doctor? What if someone shows up who can help?
Who's coming, Bill? The door-to-door MRI salesman? There wasn't anything to cure this before the world fell apart. I've made up my mind. Bill. Bill. Mm-mm. Come here. I'm not going to give you the every day was a wonderful gift from God speech. I've had a lot of bad days. I've had bad days with you, too. But I've had more good days with you than with anyone else. Just give me one more good day. Starting now, make me some toast. Then take me to the boutique where I'll pick outfits for us. You'll wear what I ask. We'll get married. And you cook a delicious dinner. Then you will crush all of these up, put them in my wine. I will drink it. Then you will take me by my hand, bring me to our bed, and I will fall asleep in your arms.
I can't.
Do you love me?
Yes.
Then love me the way I want you to. Will it be enough?
Yeah.
Why are there already pills in the bottle?
Enough to kill a horse. This isn't the tragic suicide at the end of the play. I'm old. I'm satisfied. And you were my purpose.
I do not support this. I should be furious. But from an objective point of view, it's incredibly romantic. Take me to bed.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching our show today. We just wanted to take some time to give a special shout out to our collaborator, Cat and Raven Design. They are a small queer-owned business that specializes in LGBTQ plus pride soaps. They have great designs, some that even look good to eat, but don't. You can get 10% off your entire order if you use the code DSP or go to our link tree. Help support this great small business and help give back to a great community. And we're back again.
We're back and we're live. Big boy crying today. Today was a day. You know. I think I was talking to a client earlier. I said she kind of had the same experience I had, Spence, with like not getting that one job. So they got like this really awesome thing.
Yeah.
Where they're pretty much going to compete for like the fucking Olympics. And then it was taken from them. Yeah. And so that was intense. And so we talked about that. And I said, they ain't gonna lie, it's one of the moments where you're like, it's like you got shot.
Yeah. It's a tough thing to be like, hey, it'll get better, you know? That's a tough thing to do because it's like, how could you get better? That's the top, isn't it?
It got ripped from you. So I think today we sat in some weird emotions. Right, I showed a Martin Luther King clip, the mountaintop speech that we've showed on the podcast. That I recommend every therapist if to deal with existential issues, go back to that speech. You can go back to our podcast if you want to watch it. Give us the clicks. But also just Google "if I had sneeze" speech. So it's just one piece of it. And, it always puts me in my emotions. But now that thing means more to me after this young girl wrote me a letter, young woman. and saying how much I meant to her as her therapist and how she wants me to make sure I have an impact on other little brown girls in the world. So today was a pretty emotional day. Then these scenes pretty much kicked my ass. But I'm excited. I'm gonna kick the dispense. Let's do our thing.
Woo! So, Lauren, welcome to the
Yeah.
show.
Happy to be here with you guys. Ready to get grilled.
Yeah, well, hey, it's a light grilling, just a little sizzle. Um, calm down, Nuts. Calm down. I see it. I see it. There it is. So can you give us a little bit of your journey to being, just a clinical trauma counselor? How did that happen? Like, what was your journey like?
Well, so when I decided to become a therapist, like most therapists, I was like, let me see if I can figure out my own crazy family.
Facts.
So landed in trauma, but my focus was really on working with veterans. I come from a military family.
Sure.
My kid's dad is a vet, so just kind of like makes a little bit of sense to go that route. So lots of PTSD stuff, all through, college and post grad working with veterans. And I realized I really, really enjoyed working more with the homeless population that I was working with at the time.
Okay.
And there's just so much trauma there. It's a very marginalized population. And it just really spun me in the trauma route, like even more so, not just, the direction I thought I was going to go as far as PTSD from, war. This is a very different sort of trauma. So that's how I ended up here with all the trauma for me and for my clients.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We're all just traumatized. It's fun.
Yeah. Pour some trauma on me.
So
My favorite
bad.
song.
So you also deal in childhood trauma as well. What about that kind of? So you did kind of more vets and also homelessness. What made you want to go to like the childhood trauma side of it?
That I think came about when I was working in the prisons and the jail with another marginalized population. And, I would be working with all of these inmates and listening to their stories. And it was sad. It was just so sad to see how they ended up in the positions that they were in and the influence that their own childhoods had on the places that they ended up. And that's how it ended up taking me down that road of like the impact childhood trauma has on all the decisions that we make, all the way into adulthood, all the way through our entire lives. And it doesn't go away, and it's especially sad for our inmates because you don't really get that focus for them. Um, Obviously, I don't work in the jails or the prisons anymore, but I still wanted to keep that going just because there are so many people out there that are like, why can't I stop being anxious? Why can't I stop being depressed? Then they walk into my office and they're like, oh, I'm just overwhelmed with everything. It's just too much. And then we really start exploring it. And it's like childhood trauma, childhood trauma, childhood trauma. And so it just kept overlapping. Like the theme just kept coming up. And I was like, it can't be avoided. This is where we're going.
It's a cliche, Spence, where they said, every therapist you meet is going to tell you, your parents fucked you up.
It's your parents.
And the question is good parents, wonderful parents, no matter what, you're going to fuck up your kids. And as bad parents, you're going to fuck up your kids. So the question is, how bad is it going to be? Is it going to be lifelong, lasting, and devastating? You got a few wounds, right? It depends. It's a wide range. And sometimes not always parents. Could be different caregivers. Could be like bullies at school. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes in childhood trauma. But the cliche, Spence, is, let me guess, daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, it is.
So is there any difference between your therapy when you were kind of talking towards your inmates and what you're doing now in your private practice?
Good question.
Oh, yeah. 100%. That is a great question, actually. So inmates are an interesting bunch to work with because a good portion of them have never had anybody that genuinely like cares about them and isn't trying to just get something from them. And so there's a lot of manipulation on their end because that's just how they've been raised. This is like the environment that they've been in is I need to make sure that I can survive, and this is how I can survive. So working with inmates, the boundaries are way, way higher. So I can, be my authentic self, say some of the, off the wall shit that I say, but at the same time, keep in mind that the boundary has to be there that, like, one, I'm a female and I'm working with majority male inmates that they don't ever get to be around females. And so there's definitely big boundaries that have to be put into place there. And the boundaries have to be there because they will try to, what do they call it? They call it like making the duck. So it's basically like you're the duck and they're trying to like get one over on you to see what they can get from you,
Yep.
whether it's to bring drugs
Yep.
in, you know, to have sex with them,
Yep.
whatever it is. And so it's like, it's got to be like I put, I had to put my RBF on. Like I'm not like we are not like friendly. It's a very different vibe that's coming off. Like
Yep.
I want to hear your trauma. I want to hear everything that's going on with you. But like at the end of the day, that's where it stops. That's enough. Like I'm not giving you any information about myself either. So there's not a lot of self-disclosure. So very, very different sort of experience.
So like Spencer was saying, but with your private practice, it's obviously you're a little bit more open, maybe a little bit less on guard, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't walk in thinking that there's a possibility that somebody like might stab me. Usually my clients aren't really interested in that. So I can be a little bit more relaxed, I don't mind sharing a little bit more information about myself. The area that I'm in is pretty small. So there's a very high chance that I could run into my clients in the grocery store. So that's a conversation that we have to have. And of course, if you're going to see me in the grocery store, like fussing at my kids or dancing with my husband, down the aisles, then you're getting a little bit more authentic view of me than you would in jail. So
makes sense. Spencer, I'm gonna pivot in real quick. So I've noticed, Spencer, as we've talked to a lot of women of color, or just women in general, but it's always been women of color. A lot of y'all work in the prison system. And so I find that interesting. Why is it, not why. Do you see a lot of counselors or social workers being in the prison system that are women of color? Or do you also see a lot of white women? Do you see a lot of men? Because I've got a lot of homegirls and they're all black and brown and they work in the prisons or they did work in the prisons.
Yeah.
Is there an affinity towards that population with our people? Or is it just we're not scared, so we'll go in and talk to our people versus other just like legit just white folks? Or is there a lot of white folks and we just happen to talk to everyone that works in the prison?
I don't know. I mean, because obviously, like I'm extremely white passing. I'm halfway, so most people don't look at me and say like you're a person of color or anything like that because they just don't.
Yep.
But yeah, the majority of the folks that I've come in contact, especially in the mental health world, it's primarily women.
Yep.
And they are people of color. Yeah.
That work in the prison system. Know. But when you go into private practice, you go clinical mental health and all that, and then it's all white women.
Yeah. Very different.
Interesting. There has to be some data demographics around that.
Well, also the people that we've talked to have also worked with veterans as well. So they've worked with veterans and in the prison system too. Yep. So it might be a correlation as well.
Maybe there's a stigma about working with vets. Maybe they're scared. So if you got enough moxie and gumption to go work in the prisons, then you don't really, you ain't scared of no vets. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe if you are, a person of color, you have some experience of being part of a marginalized population. And so you want to work in the prison system. It's a lot of minorities that are in there,
black or brown,
unfortunately, black and brown people in there. Yeah.
Yeah. We're the smallest percentage wise in America, our populations. And yet we're astronomically like 80% of the total there, 90% of the total. It's interesting. So maybe that's why our population is drawn towards that. I'm sure there's tons of research and studies on that. On why maybe the mental health practitioners going in there are of color. I've just noticed it through everyone who's been a guest and many of my friends. And some of the stories I hear are kind of weird, man. Like some of them are like high security stuff, like these kind of prison/psych ward stuff. And she's like, oh yeah, one dude just stabbed a dude from like stomach to navel. I'm like, or from like chest to navel. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
My private practice clients will be like, I don't know if, this might like be a little surprising to you. And I'm like, it's not. Like, it's not going to be surprising to me. Whatever you have. And I work with a lot of people from the kink community too. And they're like, I don't know if you're going to be okay to hear this. And I'm like, I'm fine. I promise I'll be okay.
it's fine.
That's okay.
I know the guys that'll probably murder you, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good. I'll pass it back to you, Spence.
Yeah. So I want to get like, all right. So we have on your thing here that you're a chicken owner, right? That was. It's true. It was a joke, but it's true.
I don't know how that came up. Go ahead.
I don't even.
I don't know. I didn't even realize you knew I had chicken. I guess it's on my feed, so.
He's a creep. But
Bye.
Do you see having like all these, like having different animals or gardening and things like that? Do you use it as like a therapeutic technique for yourself, or is it just like a hobby that you picked up?
Yeah. I actually, so when we first got chickens, my husband had chickens before, but not when I was with him. And I was like scared of chickens. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with them. They're like really creepy because they're like dinosaur looking. And I don't know how it ended up being that I was the one that was like doing a lot of the stuff with them once he got the coop set up and everything. And so then I just ended up really liking them. And it was like every single time I would have to go out there, it was like a lesson in getting myself calm to work with these like little tiny chickens because they were scary to me, which is so stupid, but whatever. They were scary. And so that, I mean, it ended up being very therapeutic to me. And in the middle of winter, it's a pain in the ass to go outside and take care of them. But also in the middle of winter, I don't go outside because it's cold, and it really fucks up my mental health to not be going outside, to not get any sunshine, to not be like moving my body. They require like the coop to be scooped out and this big ass water jug to be moved. And so, yeah, I mean, it's helpful in that sense. They make me smile. They make me laugh all the time. They're like so goofy. The gardening is just like, I love being connected to the earth. That's so like hippie sounding, but I really do like, yes, that's me. I'm just out there like, la, 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 in my garden.
It's some good
The neighbors are like, what's she doing again?
Neighbors are just like, what the
got a little
back at it
shit.
again. Doing the chicken dance, like whatever. What's wrong with that lady? She just ain't right.
The girl can't get right. Jangling, jangling.
Jangling, jangling.
So I'm sorry she was in the middle of that, but so it is very grounding, therapeutic, and also you are getting outside. So there's probably also some measurable data for sure about being in nature. We know that. There's also measurable data on pets and helping their owners live longer because you're going outside, you're taking care of something. There's that love, compassion, right? The partnership of it, but also the physical activity of it all. I think I asked you to send me whatever you wanted, and it could be fun or professional, and then you just sent me 4 pictures, and one was just you and a big ass chicken.
Oh yeah. That's probably how that came about.
And the reason why I ask people to send whatever they want is because when Mandy, one of our first guests in season 1, she's like, I've always just been asked for professional pictures or pictures that I have to be like gorgeous or like her modeling, legit gorgeous individual that models. And she just sent me some really fun one of her like at a carnival or a fair, just doing a peace sign and just happy as shit. I was like, all right, that's what we'll do. So
that's the one.
I've been asking people for whatever the fuck they want, and it doesn't have to be professional. And you sent a chicken. It's like when you're on Tinder and you're swiping through dudes and it's like deer, fish, deer, fish, deer, fish.
Chicken.
Changed it up. I like that.
Chickens.
Like that guy with the chicken.
Who's that girl with the chicken? The next scene,
Apparently that's what
deer. Shotgun.
There's a pattern here.
Why did she have a pillowcase on?
Oh my god!
Joking.
No.
Completely joking. Completely joking.
It's only on one half of her face.
But as we pivot away from that, but still on that topic, so I asked another person, I don't know how I said it. I said, hey, you can send me whatever you want, homie. And she's like, oh, okay. And I said, just as a heads up, someone just sent us one of a chicken. So like, you can literally send me whatever the fuck you want. She's like, I'm going to beat her ass with a chicken. So she takes a picture with 2 chickens.
Oh, we're in a fucking competition now? Let me go get my 13 other chickens.
Oh my
Here
God.
we go.
So Spence, this other awesome individual, awesome woman, she makes a post about this a couple days later after she sent it to me, and she shows me how like legit she has like this phobia and fear of the chickens. And like it took everything out of her, and she had to regulate, kind of like you said, to go grab these chickens for the photo. I'm like, girl, that was not needed at all or requested. She's like, your podcast is already making me better. I was like, girl, now your reward is you get to murder them and eat them. So
Chicken nuggets later.
oh my chicken fucking tenders. But I just thought that was interesting. So this is going to tie into something earlier. I'll kick it back to Spence. We'll get into the scenes. This young woman today, I said, maybe there's no meaning to life, because that's what we talked about in the Martin Luther King clip in the podcast. She's like, that's terrifying. And I just know for autistic folks, it's really terrifying because like we can be like, holy shit. But there's meaning in your life every day. Like you've impacted me. I've talked about you with other folks and little small things. I've impacted you, little small things. Your competition, folks, all the girls, the mentorships that you've done and building this fucking women's like thing organization. Like you understand who you are. And so I was tying it all in. And so Spence, we impacted someone just by having them come on the pod, of course. But then we did this chicken competition between 2 therapists. I'm like, just man pitting women against women, Spence.
That's right. Yeah.
Boy,
no matter what it is, we're like, oh no, she was talking shit about your chicken.
She was talking shit about those chickens.
She's got the bigger chickens. The bigger
what?
The bigger?
The hell is that? What?
Hong Kong.
Oh
she's got the bigger chicken.
I thought you were going a whole other way.
No, she's got the bigger breasts.
I was like,
no, she's got the bigger, what we call chickens.
Oh my God.
That's some thick ass chickens on there, girl.
You're going to make some big chicken tenders with those.
Losing at everything.
Girl got some meat, you know.
Oh my God.
We'll go to Tapatio. So we talked about this, and it was just, it's funny, but you talked about kind of, you were scared of them. And I think that was kind of cool. The other therapists, and it's just weird how like we as humans tend to human and find each other. And I'm not really sure if I added you immediately and that's how we connected, or did you find us? I think you might've been one of the 50,000 people I added. And then you shot me a message. I don't know.
I found y'all and I just was like, these guys are fucking hilarious. And so I don't know, I was just commenting on your stuff and you were like, hey, and I was like, oh my God,
that's what it was.
Talking to me. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I feel like very special.
Yeah, no, that's right.
All the millions of people that are following you.
I know. Well, you know.
Well, no, not yet.
It's a little exaggerating, maybe a little bit. But lots of people follow.
Millions in my mind, you know.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It doesn't show on the page, but it goes in his mind. That's
the people in his mind. Yes.
Yes. You just call me schizophrenic?
No. I'm gonna go full therapist and say we all have parts, Nan. These are just the parts of you. It's your fans.
Fans.
I got a lot of parts.
A very small one.
It doesn't actually get the job done.
It does not get the job done.
It does not. All right. So funny. Well, I'll pivot back to Spence for any more questions.
Oh, thank you. Speaking of chicken tenders, you also do neurodivergent therapy, right? So Yeah, what can I give us some background on that? How'd you get into neurodivergency?
Well, I guess, so going back to working with the veterans, one of the, homeless vets that I was working with, she was a trans woman, and it
Okay.
was the first time that I had ever, like, worked with any trans folks, and so I was like, "I need to go, like, learn about this so that I don't end up fucking this up and, hurting this poor woman even more than she's already been hurt." And so that really led me, sticking with marginalized populations, working with a lot of LGBTQ people, and you cannot work with the LGBTQ community and not automatically notice that there's like so much neurodivergent people that exist. There's like so much overlap. I'm
There's
awful
studies
with
on it.
statistics,
There's
but
studies on it.
yeah, but there's like lots of studies about the overlap there. And so I did the same thing and I was like, I don't want to hurt my clients, so I need to go learn about this. So I actually just finished one of my friends, she wasn't my friend to start, but she's my friend now. She started a consultation group for therapists that wanted to learn more and just be better at working with neurodivergent people. And it was incredibly eye opening for me. And there was just so much information. And so it's like all my deep dives that I'm doing right now, all neurodivergent, like everything. Like, I have like 8,000 windows open on my phone and my computer of just training and an article and podcasts and just everything.
That's why your computer didn't work. Shit's bogged down.
That's what I seriously was like Xing out of Windows. Do you know
So
how
many
painful
tabs.
it was for me? Oh my God, it was so painful. You have no idea. I'm
Yeah.
like, I
I
can
could
never
use
get
this.
these. I can, and I do. I'm like, I'll never get this tab back. Just close it. Just close it.
You can literally hit the history button and it'll come back up. So
No, it's not the
Who goes
same. You
back
don't
to history?
understand.
Who
Nobody
goes
does
back to the
that.
history?
I got to clear my history all the time.
I got chickens. Uh,
Chickens, all those chickens.
certain video. Uh,
I'm getting fired. I'm getting fired. I work for
Yeah,
myself
you are.
now. I'm getting fired.
oh,
Canceled.
uh, this is more of a question. This is like personal question for me,
Shoot.
right? So, being someone who's biracial, right? Do you feel like you have to mask your other side? Like, and it could be either or, right? So it could be like, if you're hanging out with more white folks, you have to cover up more of that Mexican side. Or if, you're hanging around other people, then it's like, oh, I have to cover up this white side. Do you ever have to feel that at all? Or are you just always going to be yourself?
No, I'm always going to be myself, but because I'm not fluent in Spanish, so
Mm.
when I'm around my Mexican family, uh, especially growing up, it was very like um, outsider feeling.
Mhm.
So it was like very apparent, like you and your siblings, like you guys are the little white kids that like don't speak any Spanish. So like I could talk to my younger cousins that all spoke English, but not my older aunts and uncles, not my grandparents.
Yep.
Um, so there was that experience. And then with any of my white friends, most of them are like, you're white until it's like, oh, well, actually, like I'm half Mexican. And then it's more so like, oh my God, you're so Mexican, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't really feel like I am because so I've never really felt like there was enough, like my feet were just very much in the middle. So I am so much just me, but I've never felt like me was all the way Mexican or me was all the way white. So it's just a weird kind of feeling, actually.
Was
No,
that
I
hard?
feel that.
Yeah. Was that hard to
I mean,
deal with?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I went to school for like 2 years in Las Vegas, which is predominantly Mexican kids. And I also was younger than everybody when I was in middle school. Starting sixth grade, and so little. Like I'm 5'1", so I was like even tinier back then. And everybody was just huge, and everybody spoke Spanish, and it was just like hundreds and hundreds of kids, and you're just over there like, There's nobody to talk to. So yeah, it was a little of an uncomfortable feeling. A lot of an uncomfortable feeling.
Just to clarify for all the guests, that there might be white folks or black folks. So tall for Mexicans is like 5'6". So
Ain't gonna get taller than that.
they're not too many. They're not too many big ones.
Not a lot of NBA players that are Mexican.
No.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a small joke. But that was a pun.
Oh, it's a small joke.
Suspense. I cut you off, but you were getting ready to validate some stuff.
Oh yeah, no, because I feel that same way. Being someone who's white passing, but then also has a black father, it's just like, and then I feel like I'm more towards like the black side more than the white side. I feel a lot more comfortable with black people than I do more with white people, right? And so sometimes that can play a big role, because then like if I don't have friends or if I have friends that are white and they just automatically think I'm a white guy, and then they can say some crazy stuff if they
Yeah.
and then I have to chime in and be like, no
bueno.
There it is.
Spanish. Look at you.
See, you're a little bit.
Speaking the Espanol.
You want to know? You girl know her Mexican now. She know her Mexican now. That girl done had some beans.
Oh my God.
Some frijoles. Just a little bit.
Oh, look at you. You know all the words now. Look at you, motherfucker.
I'm like queso, burrito.
So you know the foods too? Shit. You think you better than me, huh? Oh, okay. You think you better. That's what it is. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Quinceañera. Or whatever.
Quinceañera. I'm getting worse with it as the weeks go on.
You really are. You're like quinceañero.
Quinceañero. I can feel like a slur coming in there as I'm saying it. Like, build wall. Kingston, build wall.
It hurts. It hurts.
Where's the wall? I'm joking. Complete jokes
there
aside.
It is, right there.
Yeah. I just love that.
That was weird.
I know it was weird.
A little awkward silence.
Yeah, a little awkward racism. I mean, I guess I'm gonna chime in on this, and then we can get to some scenes. But yeah. I mean, hey, I'm Arab Lebanese family, and my grandpa immigrated from 1940 from Ellis Island, and my mom's side of the family immigrated in around the same time from Mexico, and don't speak a lot of Spanish, don't speak a lot of Arabic. Grandfather makes sure he whitewashed the entire family to assimilate. Mom's parents did their best to whitewash to assimilate. And so you get shit on by a lot of people these days because you don't know the language or other Chicanos, right? And they'll be like, oh, you some white boy. Or you some, I mean, I want to say the N-word, but I'm not going to say the N-word. It's so negative. So, right? Because you act like them. You dress like them. You talk like them. I'm like, so I never fit in with the white kids because I was too hood. Never fit in with the black kids because it wasn't hood enough. The Arabs, shit, there weren't no Arabs at my school. So who did I fit in with? I fit in with the weird kids. I fit in with the kids that were definitely autistic as shit. And that's where I found my love. Thankfully, I'm a big boy that was able to play sports. I got bullied a lot when I was younger based on all these identities. But then I got big. And now I was like, oh shit. Now everyone like gives you respect. And now you're like hurting people. And they're like, oh, Nas is like that guy. And now you're like the captain. And they're like looking up to you and shit. I'm like, who's black enough now? The British.
I'm the blackest one here.
I'm the black man now.
I'm Captain Black.
Like New Girl, it's so black, it's the blackest. He's like, marketing's gonna be terrible for this. It's just weird, man. And with some folks, you have to put on that, I don't know, that gruff when I go back home. But then you have to put on that code switch, the intelligence when you're on white folks. It's just weird world to exist in. So I can relate to both of your experiences. It's tough. Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting too, man. I mean, I told Spencer the other day I was playing basketball. He's like, man, you know how it is with black folks, man. You one of us. And I'm like, even black folks think I mean, I don't know what the hell race I am at this point.
Hey. We always go back to the police report. You're Polynesian.
Polynesian. So. The big Polynesian man in his diaper attacked me.
You did have a Hawaiian shirt on, so
I did.
That's it. That seals the deal.
I had some Kool-Aid.
Oh my god! What flavor?
Oh yeah, it was purple. I keep it black.
Ah.
That purple drink. All right,
All right,
let's
let's
get into the
get
show.
into
Let's
the
get into the show.
show.
How is this a show? This is such a
I don't
bad
know.
show.
This is still the show.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit.
Like, this is what I'm a part of now. So,
This
all
is
right, we're
hilarious.
doing The Last of Us.
Yep.
Right. So this virus breaks out. It's like a fungus and spreads everywhere. It turns people into these things called clickers. It's true. That's
And
what
don't
it
they
is.
make a pill for that?
Ah,
The chill pill.
yeah,
One butt chill pill.
it's not orally. So Um, and so then all of a sudden you get this post-apocalyptic world where, you have all these different factions and everyone's spread out, and you have cannibals, you have the military still trying to like keep everyone condensed. Then you have all these different factions of people that are just out to get land and murder people, you know post-apocalyptic stuff. You've seen it. Um, but then we have our main protagonists, Joel and Ellie. Ellie is immune to being bitten by these infected things called clickers. And so even if she gets bitten, doesn't affect her. While everybody else, if they get bitten, then they turn into these mindless monsters.
Yeah,
Um,
they're like autistics.
yeah. Don't get bit by an autistic.
You never know what's gonna happen.
Instant dirt.
Oh my god! I want some chicken strips. Huh. um, and so now Joel he's assigned this task of taking Ellie to these people that can use her blood or whatever to try and make a cure. And I say try, because they don't even fucking know. And so, um, yeah, that's like the main story of him trying to find a way to make sure that Ellie gets there safe, with some quests along the way. Um, so I want to know, Lauren, why did you pick this show of all the shows?
Well, because you guys told me I had to, so that was the one
Okay,
that I went. No, I'm just
well,
kidding.
Did we? I don't feel like I did.
No,
liar.
you did it. You did it. No, I'm just fucking with you. No, there's okay, so working in trauma in a post-apocalyptic era, I would say it's like a cesspool of trauma that's there. So there's a ton of shit that we can talk about with it. I literally was like, I'm gonna send you every clip from every single episode. Can we talk about all of them?
Let's talk about the show. We don't really have to pick a scene.
Yeah.
Really.
Pick anything. Just sad.
And then she talks to me like, I want this show. And I said, we're going to do the gay guys. And
Yeah,
she's like,
that's right.
she's like, not them. Not them.
Not the
It's
gay guys.
June.
Not that it's June.
You have to do the gay guys.
Yep.
All right.
So
Fine.
it was trauma what drew you to it. There you go. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, have you? So I'm assuming you were working around the time with COVID and everything like that. Have you were able to like connect anything from like the COVID side to like maybe this when it's like it's not post-apocalyptic for us, but some people thought it was close to it during
The
the
end
time.
of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, honestly, I didn't even think about that. And I watched, wasn't the show on during COVID? Didn't even think
Yeah.
about it.
I think so.
No, it was just last year,
Unless
the year
it-
before, right? It was just within the last 2 years.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So it's post
I
COVID.
feel like
Yeah, it was
COVID's just like
2023.
Yeah.
You're right.
gone on for so long. I have no idea. No, I didn't even think about it. I must have like blacked COVID out of my mind when I watched it. Then I was like, we're not even going to go down that road. Again.
Every time
Just
there's
not even thinking
viruses,
about it.
I always think of COVID. I'm like, oh, here we go.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Fair enough.
No,
All
couldn't
right.
even think about it.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? That would be. So the first scene that we're going to be doing is all about, Joe meeting his brother.
Oh, yeah.
So get a nice hug in there. Nice
Mm.
man hug. What were the reasons why we wanted to do this scene? Why?
So I picked this scene,
Yeah.
but then Lauren went and found it for me.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good scene though. I don't know that I would have necessarily chosen it myself, but then when I watched it more from like that mental health lens versus just being a viewer watching it, uh for me it really touched on like the big brother, little brother stuff. You know, Joel's been like searching for Tommy this entire time, worried about him. And when you start the show off, it's Joel taking care of Tommy. And just because I guess it sounds like he's a little bit of like a screw up, like I don't know what he was doing, but he got himself in some trouble. And so it sounds like Joel felt like he always had to go and take care of him. So that's kind of the lens that I watched it from, was this like responsibility for siblings.
Yep.
Yeah. And before we kind of get any further, Joel, so he lived through like the start of this like pandemic that started happening. It was him, his brother, and then he had a daughter, but his daughter was tragically shot by the military. And
Yeah.
he was trying to protect her.
Yeah.
Crazy scene, first of all. First, like when they were riding through the towns and stuff. And
I was sobbing,
yeah,
bro. That was a tough one.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
tough.
that was rough. That was rough.
Yeah. And so now with Joel, now we kind of get like this father figure. As you kind of see in the show, he's a father figure to Ellie, but he doesn't want to. He's trying to push that away as much as possible so that he can remember his daughter. So that and it's not replacing her either. It's more of just like I have to keep her at a distance because then if she dies, I'm gonna be fucked. So
Yeah, devastated.
That's a whole nother topic we'll shift to in a second. So I specifically chose this scene.
Yeah.
And we chose a lot of masculine scenes on this pod because, you know, we feminize almost everything and we show women as these accurate, as these magnificent lovers and caregivers, empaths, emotions, right? Hugs, crying, togetherness, right? But we don't see it from men. We don't see it from men, but we know there's a lot of good dads out there. We know there's a lot of good men. Doesn't matter if you're cis or trans. There's a lot of good men out there. And so, you know, we like to talk a lot of shit, but there's a lot of good folks out there. And we like to say in the black and brown community, everyone's fatherless. That's actually bullshit. And that's a horrible myth. And so we look at this with two men hugging and embracing. You see the love. You see the great acting and writing. You see the holding your breath. And then also the like heavy breathing as well, too. You can hear like the tears and the stutters. You know that he wants to protect his brother or go find his brother, and he will murder everyone and do everything to go find his brother. I mean, for a lot of us, it's how it is. You know, my brother protected me and pretty much raised me when Pops was gone and Mom was gone. And now it's, you know, it's reciprocal. So now I do a lot of things for Salim. And I've told Spence, you know, I've seen him freak out when someone says something stupid to me on the street, and he's like, "I'll kill you." I'm like, Salim, you can't say this. You can't. I get it. You can't say this.
Some people haven't seen what Salim looks like, but it's just man. He's a shorter version of Nas, pretty much. Shorter version of Nas.
I'm the 6'2" version. He's the 5' version.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so you'll do anything to go find or protect your family. And I think it's a wonderful story of suffering for so long. You're deprived of this love and this bond and this connection. Then you finally get it. How do you respond? You can't even talk. You don't talk. Just a hug. You see it when these photos of moms or military members coming home and then the kids just hug them and cry. That was that moment. You see it when couples go through a bunch of shitbag partners and then they finally find that one good one and they're like so happy, like they're like devastatedly happy. But then they're also questioning when are they going to lose that person or can they trust that person? And so that reminds me of the relationship between him and his pseudo daughter, Ellie. And so I guess we can talk about that real quick and I'll kick it to our counselor here. You know, it's tough in these relationships to lose someone and to grieve. And like if we see in the later scenes, he's like, I've lost so much. He's like, little girl, you don't know shit. And she's like, who the fuck you? I've lost everyone.
You don't know anything at all. You don't know what I've been through.
So like you said, the PTSD and grief. which transitions us into the next scene. So that's why I kind of wanted to like shift into that. I just want to show two men do have love. They do have emotions. We just shot a podcast that everyone's going to see, Spence, with Creed. And we see these two men, very masculine black men, like sit down and fight and then reconcile, right? And you see the love, you see the connect, you see the protection.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted. Some of us men suck at emotions. Good majority of us do. But we show a lot of stuff through protection because we never taught him about emotion. So I'll protect the shit out of you as best as I can. Yeah, I know when I love someone because when something weird happens, I'm like, murder?
Who do I have to fuck up now?
And being my size, it's like, I got to watch out when those feelings come up. But as soon as they come up, I get a little clenched or like in the office, I'm like, My client's like, Nas, what's wrong with your face? Oh, sorry. Is this better?
I'm happy now.
I feel like Edgar from Men in Black.
I want sugar water.
Sugar water.
Sugar water.
So, Spence, set up this second and third scene for us. What the hell's going on? And then let's kick it to the counselor to help us break these down, these magnificent scenes that she chose. It's when they come in and the two brothers. Oh, okay.
I was looking weird. So it's Joel and his brother. And Joel has a request for him to take Ellie to this place where these scientists are. They're gonna experiment on her, but they don't know that yet. And he's pretty much telling his brother, Joel's telling his brother, I'm just too old. I just don't have the reaction time. I can't hear as well. I mean, this guy's been shooting guns off near his face for like years now, so his hearing's shit, let's be honest. And so he's just not as quick anymore. And so he knows that his younger brother can actually do the things that he thinks he can't do anymore. And he's pretty much on the brink of tears, cries, because he knows a I I don't think he wants to do this. He doesn't want to give Ellie up to anybody else. He feels like he needs to do this, but he knows that his body and just his mind is also just kind of going. Um, and then we have the other scene of where Joel's actually breaking that news down to being like, "Hey, my brother's actually going to be taking you. I'm going to be leaving you." So now Ellie has another person leaving her life, right? And so now we have that trauma kind of building up again. And she already sees it coming. She heard him. She was sneaking on him because she's a sneaky individual.
Sneaky snake.
Sneaky snake. But Lauren, like, what about these scenes kind of hit you, and how have you kind of related having this moment with like a young person having this PTSD, and and okay, what they're going through, like how's that kind of related to the clients you've seen?
Well, Joel initially, just like everything that he was describing, it was like if a vet was sitting in my office and it was just like heartbreaking. Because like Naz was saying, men showing love and showing that they care for somebody is being able to protect them. There was a lot of like shame that he was experiencing in that scene to be able to admit, even to the person that he cares about the most, that I can't protect her. Like I can't do this, and I'm just having like these nightmares, and I'm losing, in all of them. And it's just all this self-doubt. And there's a lot of scenes that are building up to that where he's like shaking a lot just randomly, like for no reason. And it's like building up to the PTSD. Like if you're looking for the signs, you're like, oh, there they all are. And so it was gut wrenching. Like I've I've had guys having that conversation with me, like in my office, just from that perspective. But then from Ellie's perspective, it was heartbreaking in a different way because she's never had an opportunity to have a caregiver. She's like grown up essentially in post-apocalyptic orphanage. She never knew her mom or her dad. And this person's come around, and by this point they have like developed a very close connection, and she has that caregiver. And I mean, unfortunately, when there's zombies everywhere, like everybody that you know and love is dying. And so she's got this person, and now he's leaving her by choice as opposed to being taken from her, something that she can't control. And he's in that caregiver role. And so you just see that, like, ugh, it's so sad that she's like, and you're leaving me too. And he's like, you're not my daughter. And you're like, oh, but she is. You even called her family just a little while ago. It's so sad.
So Lauren, why? Well, what's the point of even trying to make any love and connection? What's the point of being human? What's the point of finding friends? If I'm just going to lose them, why should I keep going? Why should I keep doing this? Everyone I love leaves me. I'm worthless. I must be worthless because they always go, Lauren. Why should me, your client, keep going forward? Why? Can you help me figure out why I should keep going?
I mean, if the client asked me that, I would say, what brought you into my office in the first place? Like, if that's really the place that you're at, why are you here? And that's the answer. And if it's, I just don't feel like I have anything left. Well, the thing that you have left that brought you into this office then is yourself. Like, you're valuing yourself enough to want to come in here and keep going. And we're going to keep working on building up, like, whatever you have going on inside of you. Like, we're going to build it up. We're going to make you feel a little bit better about yourself. And when you feel better about yourself and you're able to build up that relationship and trust within yourself, then you do want to have those connections with other people. You do crave that. Like, whether we're introverted or extroverted, I always say humans are social beings. Like, we want some sort of connection. We want to belong to something. And if you've not been able to trust yourself at all at that point, that you don't belong in this world, it's going to be hard to trust anybody else.
Lauren, the world just keeps giving me shit. It keeps giving me shit. It keeps putting shit people, keeps taking the good ones away. So my advice is for me to just keep pushing through and then keep dealing with this. When is this shit going to stop? That's what a client told me today.
I think I would say I can't promise that it's going to.
Yep.
And that's shitty. And then we just sit with that.
Yep. Sometimes it's about sitting with it for real and you just kind of stew in it and you talk. Sometimes this is when we go self-disclosure with me and right. Cause I give them a second. So I'll take a break or, I'll give them a reprieve and like Sarah something about shit, life, circumstances. Mm-hmm. And then we try to build them back up and how they've made it through it. We try to help them find new connections and good people. What brought you here to me? Because we're working on stuff. So if I'm a good person, there must be other good people. If you're sitting in front of me, you must be a good person. So there has to be the reciprocal or another copy of you. So it's really tough when they come in front of you, Spence, and they're like, what's the point? I might as well die. Because dying would be better than the shit that I have coming in front of me. So you mean to tell me when I graduate, it's just more shit? And I was like, this is why. Probably, let's accept it. Life is a lot of hardship. And there's joy, but it's only momentary. And then even those joyful moments, me and Spencer know that we don't fucking always remember them. And that's when everyone, the younger population, wants to take all the photos. But if you take the photo, then you never really fucking actually remember it in your brain. And so I have my boys, women too, but specifically boys recently. I said, I need you to do something for me. I need you to walk outside. And when you play your last game, I need you to sit down in the grass. People are going to think you're weird as shit. I need you to sit, smell it, feel it. I want you to remember the moisture when, you're laying down on the grass and you feel that moisture when you stand up. It's a little wet, because you're probably never going to feel this again. And then I need you to go home and journal about it. And then a couple of weeks or a month from now, I want you to go journal about your reactions to the journal article now. I want you to burn this into your brain. And he comes back and he said, Nas, I see all of it. I see every single moment. Parents, all of it. Like it's burned. And I said, look at you. Look at you. You did it. You did exactly what I need you to do. And so we try to remember the good moments because we know the sad ones will be there. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to role play another thing with you, what Spence just said. I'm getting old and I'm scared. And he's crying now and I'm scared and I'm losing and I have nightmares and I don't even know what they are, but I wake up terrified. I'm losing in my sleep and I'm losing when I'm awake. What do you tell someone who just says that to you?
I would just cry.
Facts.
No, I need the client to be my therapist. I'm just gonna cry. It's painful, man. It's like painful to listen to that kind of stuff. And I honestly, I think I would just validate that. That's really fucking painful. Really fucking painful. And I mean, I think sometimes, you kind of touched on it a little bit, like that therapeutic relationship is so, so important. Just to have another person that's right there with you, that's like, I don't know what the meaning of life is. Like, I cannot sit here and promise you that it's going to get better, but I'm going to sit in this shit with you. And it's just like having somebody else that's there with you. It's like, I can see that you feel like you're losing, but you're here with me right now. So obviously, there's something that's making you take that next step forward. Every step that you take, even if it's so, so tiny, is moving you out of that hole that you're in.
Facts.
It was painful, man.
Oh, that was a tough scene. I cried during that scene. I was like, God damn it, Pedro. It got me. I've heard that. Oh, I've heard that though. When they tell you, right, they're having the night terrors. I've seen my students, my autistic students, my neurotypical students, specifically autistic. And the night terrors are son of a bitch, especially when they're getting overstressed or overstimulated. Some of my students are, schizophrenic and autistic too. And it starts to build and build and build, Spence. Now they're hearing shit. Now they're seeing shit in their sleep. And they're like, Nas, I don't sleep. Can't sleep. Because that's when the scary stuff happens. So they just sit there and they rock and they stim. I'm like, girl, we got to sleep. We got to get meds. I'm too scared to take meds. I don't have money to take meds. So this is when I do my best to start after we do the validation and we sit in it, right? So, but now we got to start doing some social work and not therapy, because we ain't doing no therapy right now.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do the social work stuff.
We got to do the social work stuff. So now we got to figure out, Spence, how to handle all the extracurricular shit that's getting in the way. That way my kid can't sleep. And if it is PTSD from some horrific abuse or traumatic event, then maybe we do some EMDR, which is a trauma-related therapy. We make sure if they're neurodivergent that they're playing and stimming with something in their hands, right? So that way their brain's kind of reprocessing things in a better way. My clients tend not to dissociate or go catatonic when they're fidgeting with something. Helps them process. Until today was funny, Spence. I bought this. It's a Shishibo. It's called Shishibo. Yeah. So it's the brand of this like magnetic thing that turns into a bunch of different like things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I bought the one a couple years ago, and then they came out with a Ninja Turtles one from Turtles of Mayhem. And so
that's cool.
My one client today got it to turn into a box, the normal one. He's like, holy shit. He just sat it down. He's like, I'm done. My Olympian comes in and she's playing with the turtle one. Holy shit. I said, go figure, both of you autistic motherfuckers. I was like, y'all need to meet each other. They figured it out. Yeah. I mean, it's a great moment and then they're like, what were we talking about?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. And so my kid was in there crying today and all this stuff. And it's just horrible dreams, nightmares, dissociative, dysphoric. And part of my specialty is just making people smile. I said, girl, how you feeling now? She said, I feel a lot better than when I first walked in here. I was like, I might as well die. Now it's like, I got to like laugh a little bit, cried a little bit. Now maybe the shame isn't as bad. So now we did a little like, okay, you're going to do this, this, and this for the next 3 days. He said, you ain't been to class in a week. So based on what you told me, it sounds like you need to go back to class by Wednesday. She said, okay. Wednesday, we're going back to class, right? And so I think that's the baby steps.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not always therapy and knowing what to say. I don't think any counselor would know what to say to someone who says I'm losing.
Yeah.
Real quick, I have those same feelings too of losing. The nightmares happen, right? Then you get losses in life. Shit adds up. And then when it's just happening all the time, well, then now it's too much. And now suicidality is a real option.
Yeah.
As she said today, it's the only way I won't have to deal with all this shit is just not exist. She said, I don't want to die. I just don't want to exist. I said, facts. The other therapist would be like, oh man, you're going to kill yourself? Or we're going to take you to the hospital now. It's crazy. And I'm like, no, you're not crazy, kid. There's a difference between those two things you said.
Oh, yeah.
Great scene.
I think It's a great scene. I really love like the perspective that internal family systems takes with
Go ahead.
like the suicidality and that, you know, all of our emotions, they have some sort of function. They came or, you know, any of the things that we're feeling, they come up as defense mechanisms to try to help even suicidality. And once I heard that,
Yeah.
it really like helped to shift my perspective on it. I mean, I don't think I was ever one that was like, "Oh my god, you're going to kill yourself," like and just, you know, would panic, but now it's a very different approach that I take to it because I can see why it would have come up as a viable option. Not that I'm saying that I want you to do that, but I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want you to do it, but like you said, but logically,
Yeah.
right, I'm not condoning any of this that anyone's listening to. We're just talking about
No.
not
No.
shaming people for their brain going there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Not at all.
Everyone I pretty much love has been there. Thankfully,
Yeah.
no one has done it that I love because they're all still here. Because if some of them, couple of 2 or 3 of the motherfuckers do it, you know, the chance I ain't here. So
Yeah.
suicide's been all around me my whole life, and I never knew it. And then as men, we finally start saying it. I'm like, damn, for real?
Yeah.
Why did you tell me this?
Yeah.
Right? Men don't talk about shit.
We don't talk about shit. Spence, I
Yeah.
don't want to hear it. Fuck you.
What happened?
Yeah. What happened? What happened?
Where are we again?
Oh yeah, podcast.
It's good shit, man. It's good
Yeah.
shit. It's a tough scene.
So before we actually move on, I
Go
kind
ahead.
of want to know, Lauren, do you like you talked about Joel and his shaky hands as a symptom of PTSD? What are some of the other symptoms of PTSD?
I feel like everything's a symptom for PTSD, possibly. So it's like anxiety, depression, nightmares, substance use, suicidal thoughts, um, hypervigilance. Definitely a lot of hypervigilance that's going on there. Um, I'm missing like everything, I'm sure.
No,
There's just so much.
I kind of want to ask a little bit on that. Like, have you seen a difference when it comes to different backgrounds, gender, race, or anything like that? Have you seen any difference there, or is it kind of all the same?
No, I mean, not me personally.
Okay.
Uh, there's definitely, I think, a difference between like complex trauma, so like that childhood trauma stuff, versus PTSD from like an event or like multiple events, you know. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I worked with vets, and so PTSD was a big, you know, topic that was bringing them in. And then in the prisons, I worked with a lot of the guys that were from inner city Baltimore,
Um,
which Baltimore's in the news quite a bit, unfortunately.
Heroin
Um,
capital of the U.S. or of the
that's
world.
right, Maryland.
Yeah.
Um, so, but these guys would come in and they'd be talking about stuff, and they would have no idea. Like nobody had ever given them a diagnosis for PTSD. And I would ask them, "Do you know what it is?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's what those like the military guys get, like when they get back from war." And I'm like, "Yeah, tell me what you know about it." And so they'd be like, "Oh, well, you know, they're just crazy, like they're paranoid, people are going to be shooting them." And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And they're like, "Yeah, you know, they're just like anxious and they're like worried all the time and they got to like always be watching their backs and stuff." And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And so they're like going and they're naming all the symptoms for me. And I'm like, "That sounds a lot like what you just told me." So it's very different experiences that these individuals are having. And then at the same time, I'm like, it's basically like you grew up in a war zone. Like, are we shocked that this is the way that you're feeling now? Are we shocked that you're having nightmares? Are we shocked that you're waking up in cold sweats, that you can't trust anybody? It's the same thing. Very different
Just
experiences, though.
described my father. Yeah. So it's a son of a bitch, right? And Spence, I'll add this: PTSD is like autism or a snowflake. It's different with everyone. There's a lot of common symptoms, but it also depends on what the traumatic event was. Or I got some clients that the trauma happened at nighttime, so the body becomes more hypervigilant, more somatic, more physical issues at night. Or maybe they
Yeah.
can't sleep. Maybe the heart rate goes up. Maybe they get real hot. You know, maybe certain noises in the house, right? You know, door opens. They're like, You know,
Mhm.
maybe it's outside. Maybe it was a car accident. Maybe it's driving. Maybe it was a sexual related thing. Maybe it was gunfire. You know, I remember being at the football game in high school and you hear gunshots and everyone drop. You know, that can be traumatic for folks.
Mhm.
People, white folks are going to want to say this isn't a thing, but with us and officers, it's terrifying. And I have multiple guns pulled out on me, and the shit's fucking terrifying because you're like, I mean, I joked with Spence saying I didn't know my tags were expired for a fucking year because I never got the letter and I just forgot about it. And people are like, it's fine. I'm like, it's not fine because if I get pulled over, I'm a big fucking boy. And then I have an Arab name too, right? Shit ain't that good for Mexicans and Arabs right now, man.
Yeah.
We got the most hated motherfuckers in the world right now. And so I can hear black folk get mad. Well, calm down, man. Let me add 2 seconds now. Everyone wants to be the most oppressed. And so it's just scary. So it depends. It depends. It depends what the trigger is, Spence. And it can manifest cognitively or more just physiologically. The man won't really pay attention to cognitive shit. And then you got folks like, our boy Colin, and he's like, man, I think I'm having a heart attack. I'm like, dog, it's a panic attack. How many times you gonna go to the fucking hospital and they tell you it's not a heart attack?
Mm-hmm.
He really Tony Soprano that, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
I remember one time he's like, his stomach lining was just eating away. I'm like, bro, either take the fucking antacids or get on an anxiety medication.
Yeah.
Like,
stop eating spicy foods.
Yeah. Divorce your wife. Jesus.
Well, I mean, that probably solved a lot of things.
Blame it on the wife all the time.
Oh, well, you should.
We do on this
I'm going to
pod.
say that from my perspective.
It don't won't.
You should.
But in these next scenes, there's no woman to blame. It's just two dudes. So let's get in it.
Yeah. There you go.
Who's fucking this relationship up?
Bill and Frank, I don't know. So next scene, we are introduced to Bill and Frank. So Bill is this survivalist, like I'm pretty sure as soon as everything went to shit, he's just like, yeah, I knew it. Fucking knew it.
My fucking time to shine.
Yeah. What's up, people? And so he fenced in this town. It's like electric fence. Nobody could get in. And then one day, this mysterious man dropped into a hole. and then Bill, for some reason, took a chance on this stranger. And, I'll be honest, the stranger was talking a little bit, he was like, hey, I need some help. He helped me out. I swear, I'm not trying to murder you. Like, I swear.
Oh, you said you're not trying to. Okay, I'll believe you.
Yeah. All right, fine. That's fair. And so then we find out his name's Frank, and Bill actually let Frank, clean up, make some food, and even lets him play his piano. So he really let his guard down in this. I'm not sure who picked this scene.
So this is what I wanted to do. I think we'll describe all three of the scenes together, and then we'll pivot to the autism scene. So continue going on this love story, Spence. Explain a little bit of the love story, and then the final scene, kind of what happens, and then we're going to chop in all the love all together.
Okay. So Bill and Frank, after playing piano,
all it takes. That's what I love about gay men.
Hey.
I want you, I need you, I'm gonna have you.
You see how he's walking away? He was like, he was waddling because
he was.
He was like, well.
He's waddling,
and of course,
because he had that third leg hard as a rock, boy.
He was like,
he had to swing that motherfucking leg, boy.
I'm about to go to the shower. Clean off this python.
Good job, Bill.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Get it done, Bill.
Get it done. And then, of course, that's the start of their relationship.
Yeah.
Then we see them 3 years later.
Yeah.
Frank wants to just redo the whole town and make it look nice. while Bill's kind of like, what the fuck? Why would you want to do that? We're surviving. Like what? We don't need to do anything else. We're surviving. Why do we need to make it look nice? And like they kind of get into this argument and stuff, but at this point, it's like, where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go? A
Where you gonna
different
go?
house?
Yeah.
A different
Step
like,
with
come on,
me.
come on now. Come on. And so now it's a funny argument because it's just like a couple's argument, but you know, Frank and Bill, of course, they're in a post-apocalyptic world,
Yep.
so it's even funnier. Um, but then we fast forward even
Again.
further.
Yep.
Yes. So Frank actually, there was like the like all these different people were trying to raid their camp,
Oh
and
yeah.
then Frank got shot and his legs stopped working. I'm pretty sure he got like shot in the spine or
Yeah.
something. Can't remember. Um, but it left him paralyzed from like the waist down. And so now Bill is his caretaker and has been taking care of him for years and years. And then we kind of jump to the scene where we're at, where Frank is just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Um, and so we get this a lot of emotion that Bill shows because throughout the time that we've known Bill, does not really show emotion besides like paranoia.
Mm.
He's like, I'm not paranoid. I'm not schizophrenic. Love that part. He is paranoid,
Yep.
just not schizophrenic. What's hey, hey. Um, and so then, we see Bill. He's crying at the fact that now he's about to lose his partner, only person that he's been with through all like 20, 30 years,
Yep.
probably. Yeah, something like that. And so then they have like one nice last day, right? Because Frank got to choose which day he wanted to take his own life. And so um, then they have like this very nice day where they're just, they get to go to their store, then they get to, play the piano, then they also get married, which is also a really big deal. Also, and we finally have the dinner scene where um, Bill pours down these different pills into the wine, but then, unbeknownst to Frank, Bill also put the pills in just the wine bottle as well. So now he's taken his own life because, hey, I've already lived my life. I'm old. I got nothing else. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Tragic.
I say, where do you want to go? You can start wherever you want with this, Miss Counselor. What do you want to talk about in these scenes? I know I picked some really traumatic scenes, right? You helped us find them, but this is what I wanted to talk about. What do these scenes bring up for you? For you, not for clients, but for you. What were the emotions that get pulled out of you during this?
I mean, to me, it was just like you got such a sweet love story, all throughout that entire episode. It completely almost took you out of the, nightmare that everybody had been living in. And then you get to the end of it and it's like, oh, this is not going to end nice. This isn't going to end happy because of course it can't end happy. And so just they build you up for such a nice thing. They painted such a beautiful love story in such a short amount of time, and they're developing friendships and you know, they're figuring out who they are together and making do with what they have, and it just was tragic. It was so sad. Even he says at the end, like when he's drinking his wine, he's like, there's something very like tragically romantic about this or something. And I was like, it really is.
And then they laugh.
Yeah.
It was funny. He's like, "Is this enough?" He's like, "It's enough."
It's,
So I
like,
laughed. Yeah,
I know
laughed
the
at that
dose.
one.
I saw that. I was like, uh oh. Like, I got the dosage. Okay. Don't.
Yeah.
was afraid he was gonna nod out at the table. I'm like, y'all are trying to make it back to the bedroom. Like,
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. I
Um,
thought it actually was a lot more poetic, the fact like we didn't have to see them pass.
Yep.
We just know that they just went to the room. And then so Joel and Ellie years later, they go back and they find a note from Bill just being like, Joel, I actually really didn't like you at all.
Mhm.
So and just being like, this door that we're in is locked from the inside. You can't get in it. Just take what you need and then just make sure to leave the fence. So Bill, of course, being Bill, is making sure that, their bodies are going to be untouched. And yeah, I thought they did a really great job that they didn't have to really show like them dying. Like we knew what was going to happen. And it just felt a lot more poetic, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had I don't think we did the scene of it, but like the very last part after Joel and Ellie come back and they like take the truck and like grab all the guns and everything like that. It's like them driving away, but they just like cut to the open window with like flowers and like just this very like pretty homey looking scene, and you're just like, this is even more sad. Like I don't even have to see you
Right.
guys, together or anything like that. It's just sad, it's beautiful, for these two people in so much chaos to have found each other, and built this entire life together, making do with what they had, which is not a lot during that time, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was nice.
But when you find the right person, you don't need a lot. You just need them.
Yeah.
And people be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's cliche." No, that's the truth. When you find that
Yeah.
person, that's it. I just need to sit with you, and we ain't even got to say nothing. But I love you to death, and you love me, and I mean, let's go get some food and watch a show, or let's go kayaking, let's go walking, right? I mean, it's whatever. And you just find that person. I think what hit for me is you see this individual that was probably bullied and vilified for being different and autistic coded and just a curmudgeon, cold affect, OCD. And then obviously it sounds like closeted gay man because of fear of others, probably a white town. And then at the end of the world, someone that probably was going to kill him 100 times out of 100 ends up loving him. Right. And that touch on the arm, and he said, what woman was that for? And there was no woman. He's like, I know.
Yeah.
And you can see in that song when he's playing the piano, it's this magnificent love story, but also this closeted like story of this longing. And then he finds it. So it builds up this thing, even for like straight dudes like me and Spence watching, you're like, this is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
I was like, that just, oh my God, someone does this to me, or I do the, oh my God, this is like the pinnacle of love. And obviously there's hardships, and he tells him when he's ready, he's like, I hate you too, you bastard. It was hard times with you. Of course it is. Loving someone that's autistic is magnificent, and also it's very hard at times because we're different. We're special.
Hey,
Very special.
we're different, but not less.
Not less.
Not less. Not at all.
So I chose it because of the beautifulness, but also the tragicness. How love will find a way. Even if you've never found it and you thought you were going to die alone with your 1,000 cats, or just die alone at your computer, it just like finds a way. I told a student today, I said, you know what? You want friends? You want a partner? It's not going to be in your fucking garage. It's not going to be in your bed. You got to go. It's outside, you asshole. But all those dudes are
Got to go
perverts.
to the hole where they're at.
Yeah.
You know?
The actual hole.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes.
That's how I found my last girlfriend. I trapped her in a hole.
Isn't that how you're supposed to find a girlfriend?
She puts the lotion on the skin, or else it gets the hose again. Silence of the lambs. All right.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
And so I'll get into something, and I maybe you've dealt with this, Lauren, but maybe not. So it reminds me of people with disabilities, people that are aging, people that want to go out on their own terms. People like my father, he's like, hey, you ain't wiping my ass. When I can't walk, it's getting close. And if my mind isn't there, we're done. So I see this old man. He's like, it took me hours to get out all night. I've been up all night. I wonder who this reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
So Dad, the other day, I said, you need to get back on this other medication because you're swinging your legs too much. You can't walk anymore. Something's going on. I don't want to take it, you know. I don't need it. And motherfucker, you ain't walking good. So it puts me like in a weird trauma response when I'm watching that scene. And obviously these are two loved ones, but the love between the father and the son is just as much as right between someone and their partner. And I can't imagine Spence, Lauren, being someone's partner and being like, hey, it's time.
Yeah.
And then like, hey, I need you to help me do the assisted. That's Jesus Christ. I mean, well, how do you say no? But then you want to respect their rights? I mean, I've never had to deal with anyone in that, any clients with that. I just would not want to be in that situation. But the sad thing is, I feel like most of us are going to be in that situation with our loved ones as they get old and dementia and the bodies don't work. So I wanted to pick this, Lauren, because this is all going to be us at the end. What's his name? Frank Spence?
Frank and Bill. Yep.
Frank is us. We go in wearing diapers. We probably going to leave wearing diapers. I don't know. I have a lot of clients that get worried about getting old and they get very fearful of their parents dying, their grandparents dying. And then it's like, shit, man, I'm going to have this shit. And then my kids are going to have to deal with me. There's a lot of shame. And can you imagine being Frank and he has to do all that stuff for him? Or, the shame that, thinking the burden of the bill. So it's just very complicated emotions that I felt. And then that's when the tears kick in. But young man, when I see that fucking Bill cry, bro, that shit hurt. And that face, it's never like this, the crying with like the massive tears and like it's always the silent ones that fuck me up, Spence.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it. And everyone knows it, like, because they've done that cry where they're just holding their breath. Fucked up. Life is a bitch, but they did have a magnificent end of life, didn't they? They had 20 some years, maybe more. Right? I mean, they were just old as dirt. And then as you get to die with your partner, I mean, you got nothing else. You're in a horrible fucking world. There is no other people will be like, oh, you'll find someone else. Right. I mean, there's nothing else. This
is literally it for Bill. Like the fact that he even found Frank, like, no, there's no one else.
I understood it.
Yeah.
I probably would have did the same thing. I ain't gonna lie. Same shit. Yep.
It's also very different from the game, actually. So they actually made this completely different from the game. So Bill he still had that little town, right, where it was all like boxed out and everything, and he was like an inventor, tinkerer, whatever, survivalist. But they actually have it to where like they all go into this house, and then you see like this body in this really bright shirt. And then you see that it's Frank, and he kind of just goes like, yeah, that was my best friend right there. But then you kind of get like the sense like it was more than a best friend and stuff like that. And they give that in the game. But Bill actually keeps on going on and living.
Okay.
And so it's very different. And the fact that, they just made this beautiful story out of this, even though there wasn't any like source material from it, even better. So
Went with it.
Yeah, for somebody that didn't play the video game, I would never have known that wasn't in there. Like, I remember looking it up later because I was like, this is awesome. Like, you don't really hear, I mean, for me, for the video games that I've watched people play, there's not a lot of like, we're going to put an entire gay romance into the middle of this zombie shoot 'em dead, kind of game.
Fair.
So I was like, I got to look this up. So I looked it up after, and I was like, they did it. It's like seamless. It fit into everything so nicely, and it did give you that little break for a few minutes of like being able to breathe before like some major shit happens, and after some major shit just happened. But still keeping it real and true too. Like, this is what their reality is. This is the way that things are. And I appreciated the fact that, it's like you said, Nas, like, this is something that a lot of us are going to be facing. And so they did put some very realistic stuff in there, even though it is, this zombie alt universe. Like, these are real things that a lot of us are going to be facing, unfortunately. And I do have a lot of clients that come in and they're experiencing the same things that you're saying, Nas. Like, there's a lot of questions that we're going to have to be asking that we didn't think that we were ever going to have to ask of our parents or our grandparents. What is it that you want? So it was nice that he was able to have some of that autonomy, to an extent, both of them.
Yep. Yeah. So like your clients, have you had any of them like had to, be there with their parents or their grandparents as they were transitioning to maybe in hospice, things like that? Have you dealt with it? It's tough ones. Like, oh, I don't know. There's nothing to say.
Well, the other piece of it that makes it even more difficult is that a lot of the people that are coming to see me are dealing with that complex trauma.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the trauma that they experienced was at the hands of their caregivers. So they're now in this role of being a caregiver themselves. And so it's very flipped. But they struggle with that, of, well, why the fuck should I take care of you? You never took care of me. Or the complete opposite of, I'm going to completely go way above and beyond my boundaries and, bend over backwards to do everything that I can for you. But I also harbor this resentment towards you that you've put me in this place where I have to feel like I have to do this. And isn't this just what a kid is supposed to do? And so we're still working with all that trauma. It's just in a very different way. And so when I say, like, you've got this childhood trauma, like, it doesn't quite go away. It's really like growing up with us all the way through. It just presents differently.
You're right. That's a good one. What do you do when I've had a lot of clients as their abusive parent gets older and then now they're the caretaker for their parent. It's a fucked up emotion. It's like, nah, I dislike these fuckers, but then again, I'm a good person. It can be very convoluted, very tricky. I remember when I was younger, I think I was like freshman year playing college ball. And I remember being back home in Saginaw, Spence, and my mom had this office. And, my dad was in Flint working, and she's like, baby, you gonna end up taking care of me. What? I said, your sister ain't gonna do it. And your brother can't do it. This is Benny, one of my other brothers that died. I'm going to the King Safe for his daughter, my niece. And I said, Ma, I can't. Tay already gonna take care of Dad. Like, this. Like, it's me and Dad. It's me and Dad. And she just was like, what? And so I'm gonna take care of both of y'all. Like, that doesn't even make sense to ask me that.
Mm-hmm.
When my sister is supposed to be this affluent woman and all this shit like that, right? Why wouldn't she do it? They're all thick as thieves.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you're a grown ass woman. Why do I need to take care of you? You should be saving some money and doing retirement and all that shit. And she's like, it's coming down to you, honey. It's all coming to an end. All our hustling and maniacalness. I was like, nah, man, I ain't doing this. So, it would have been very weird. And as she passed with cancer, it was very weird. And people were like, where are you? She passed very quickly from brain cancer. But they were always, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And it's just, brain is just complicated, man. It's complicated. And people are like, you're a piece of shit, Nas. Like, you don't understand how complicated it was.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks I'm the monster. I'm like, you sure? You sure it's me?
Yeah.
So it gets complicated. Spence, I threw in one scene where Ellie and right there, they're getting on that horse.
Oh, yeah.
And she, he said, girl, I'm going to give you an option. You can choose, come on, pack your shit, let's go. I remember, man, my dad didn't have a pot to piss in. Fresh out of prison, he was working on houses, and Ma was doing her thing, wilding out, and he freaks out. They're yelling and all this shit. He's like, I'm leaving. I said, hold up now, motherfucker, take me.
Wait.
I sprinted out the garage, fucking tripped and fell, broke my rib on my bicycle because it fucking jabbed me in the rib, hopped in the truck, and that was it. And to be fair, that motherfucker took off without me. And then he circled the block. And then I hopped in and then we left.
He's like, fine, I'll do one more pass by. How this, son?
You got a shot, motherfucker. You coming? Wait a minute.
I'm coming.
I'm coming. I tell my dad I'll take none of it back. People like, you for real? None of it. And it was some complicated shit. Some complicated shit, boy. None of it. That's why I put that one scene in there. So it's weird seeing people get old. It's weird for people seeing their pets get old and then put down their pets.
It's a rough one.
Oh, you've experienced it?
Yeah, my best friend dog, I put her down. Oh, it was like right at the start of COVID. No, it wasn't. It was December. So, it all started in like March, so December. And I had just left a job at the jail that I've been working at. So that, there's a lot of like flux that's happening with that. Find out she has a cancer diagnosis. You can extend her life. It's really not going to do much for her. You don't want to put her in a lot of pain. And because it was COVID, I wasn't able to go back with her. And that just like, it eats at you, because it's like I don't know what she was experiencing at that time, but like I loved her. She was with me through a lot of very like traumatic situations and was always like my protector. So yeah, that's a painful one.
This shit hurts, man. To lose love, to watch people get old. And then you got us that are autistic as shit and hyperphantasic. So not only do, maybe they're healthy now, but we visualize them getting old and dying. We visualize the eulogy. We visualize the crash, the loss, the emptiness afterwards. We see it and we feel it. And it can lead, as our previous guest and author talked about, it's too much. It's just too much. So I chose this scene because of the pain, but the realness of it. God, Spencer, these writers and producers, there's a reason why it was nominated for awards, and I think it won some awards.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know it was nominated for like everything.
Yeah, Neil Dunkerman. He's actually one of the main guys over at Naughty Dog, the place where they actually made the video game.
Okay.
So, and then they brought him on to be like, a creator or whatever, a producer, just to kind of see like and make sure like the story matches up with like how the video game was, and then also kind of give, little things that are different that are going to make it, a little bit, have some difference between the game and the show. So, Neil Dunkerman.
Great show.
Good guy.
Great show. As we start wrapping it up, Lauren, what do you got for folks? We watched a lot of scenes. We talked a lot today. We got to know you, right? How wonderful and lovely you are. Also the intelligence, right? The way your algorithms work in your brain to help people heal. But what do you want to leave for folks that are watching these scenes and these visuals? Well, what is it that you want to say to folks? This is just you talking.
What do I want to say as far as like the show goes?
The show, but anything in life, like people that need a healing.
You want me to give words of wisdom to people?
Yeah.
Ow, on the spot.
Hey, you've lived a long life too now, right? You've been through some shit, it sounds like. So you got a lot of wisdom. Oh.
I'm so fucking old. Come on.
You're looking good though. You're looking good.
I mean, I guess what I would say is, one of the things that you really do see happen in this show is so much connection. There's a lot of tragic things that are happening for every single person. And not unlike this world that we live in, there's a lot of tragedy that goes on. And, even when you're in that place where you feel like there's not an option, you don't have anything left, like there's no other choice, there's nobody for you. Joel was at the end of his rope. His brother had left. His daughter had died. He didn't have anything that he was going towards. And he just kept going. And he was able to make this new connection with somebody that, I think it helped him to keep wanting to go on living. Unfortunately, it brought up a lot of trauma for him, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If we transfer that over into, if you walk into my therapist office, now we're going to be able to work on some healing, which is means that some of those connections are going to be able to like be even more deeper and even more meaningful than what you even thought that they were before. So, I mean, I guess what I would leave people with, the big takeaway for me for that show was don't stop, you know, keep going. There's something. Even if you don't know what it is, there's something that's out there for you.
Reminds me of that podcast we did with Aurora FC, the women's professional team. Is on the other side of fear is something beautiful. On that other side of fear is something beautiful. You just got to go through it.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you for coming. I'm glad that you were commenting on things, and then we got to see your chickens.
Yeah. Always happy to share chickens.
Oh my God, that sounds so dirty.
I know.
Show us your chickens.
Showing you my chickens.
But it was just nice to meet counselors, man, to just cry with people too, because y'all saw me cry pretty hard during the scene. So it's just nice to be real with people. And me and Spencer, I think, been very blessed the last 2-3 days to meet some really awesome people, man.
Oh, yeah.
And all people color. We had one really, really white girl, and then all people of color. She was white. She was pasty as shit. She was. She was dead.
Glowing in the dark.
No, she was
vampire white.
She was dead.
Literally.
She might have been dead, actually.
She is dead. She got the fungus from the Last of Us. She got the fungus.
We didn't even know that was how it was going to come out, but she got it.
She got it.
She got it. All right. So, Lauren, anything that you want to plug before we get out of here?
Well, I do want to say thank you so much to you guys for inviting me on the show. It's been really fucking awesome and hilarious, and it's been great talking to you guys and getting to know you. So I appreciate you bringing me on. And I'm going to keep commenting on your page for everything. You can follow me on Instagram at For Speech Counseling. That is like really the only social media presence that I have because it's a shit ton to try to keep up with.
Yep.
If you are in Maryland and you want some therapy, or you just want to go check out, my website. Oh, also I'm licensed in Colorado, so Maryland or Colorado, forspeechcounseling.com. And yeah, that's all I got going on right now.
Okay. But you have openings for your private practice in all of Maryland?
I do. Yeah, I do. For virtual for the whole state of Maryland. If you're wanting to do in person, Annapolis, Severna Park, Arnold, Southern Baltimore County.
Okay. So, good to know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, it was really fun. Definitely would have you back on. So
Ooh,
I said it.
Yes.
I said it.
Yeah.
We want Massa back.
I will come back. Massa.
Love Massa. Massa.
I love me some Massa.
I'm not gonna say
I love Massa. You just show like that meme of Samuel L. Jackson holding Leonardo DiCaprio.
No.
Massa, no.
No, Spence, no.
Oh man. We're all gonna get canceled.
Oh well. So with that, I'm Spencer. That's Nas. Different spectrum bad guy.
All right, everyone. Much love. For real. This was a tough podcast. Much love. And remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
Completely up to you. Peace.